Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of Loop Live, MediaCom's weekly content inspiration session. My name's Mark Heap, I'm the Asia Pacific CEO, and today I wanted to share with you my experience as the president of the recent Spikes Asia Awards. Most people seem really interested in looking at case studies and seeing what the best work in our industry is. And so I thought this was a really good opportunity to share with you some of those best campaigns, and let you know what we as jurors thought was so special about them that they deserve to be awarded. So let me get straight into it. To tell you a little bit more about Spikes Asia, the awards show has actually been going now for over 30 years. So it's extremely well recognised as Asia's preeminent festival of creativity and effectiveness in the craft of marketing. There are many different categories in there, and the media section is just one of those. Within media, we had this year 222 entries across 34 different categories. So there's best use of channels, there's different advertising sectors, there's different categories for different parts of the craft of our media. So there's many categories that campaigns can be entered into. From those 222 entries, we ended up with 49 campaigns that we felt were strong enough to be the shortlist. And what that means is that, we judged those 222 independently as jurors, and you can see the 7 jurors on the screen at the moment. The 49 that we collectively agreed were strong enough to be shortlisted, we then spent 3 days deliberating and discussing and reviewing each of those 49 in much deeper detail to decide were they strong enough to be actually awarded a spike, and if so, what colour spike would they be awarded, a bronze, a silver or a gold. So from that, after 3 days of deliberations, myself and the fellow jurors, we decided this year on 23 campaigns we felt were really the best of the best and deserved to win a Spikes. So congratulations to anyone who was involved in those. You really are amongst the best work in our industry across the whole of Asia. And from the 23 winners, we then awarded one Grand Prix, which was for this year the campaign that we felt really stood out a little bit above all the rest. So I'm going to share that with you at the end of the session today. That's going to be the 7th one that I share. Before I get into showing the cases, I just thought, I'd give you a summary of some of the key themes that we observed as jurors in the jury room this year. First one is that this was very much a year about Australia. It really demonstrated that Australia as a country is really a creative force to be reckoned with. And there were many campaigns, both that won the awards, and campaigns from Australia won 13 out of the 23 total awards. But there were many more shortlisted, and a lot of other good ones that didn't even make the shortlist. So, Australia really had an extremely strong year this year. The second theme was the rise in addressable creative and data-driven creative formats. Now, this is something that as an industry we've been talking about for a few years now. And I was really pleased to see that some of there were a few really strong campaigns that are really leaning into the opportunities that new technologies are affording. And they demonstrated how those opportunities can actually then address a business challenge and lead to brand growth. So again, with some of the videos that I share shortly, you'll see some examples of this. The third theme is social currency isn't the same as business results. And, while there were an awful lot of good campaigns entered amongst those 222 entries this year, there were many that really, when it came to the results, were using social currency as the only currency in the results. So they were talking about how many tweets, likes, PR value, followers that they got. But the jury, we discarded, or a lot of those campaigns didn't make it to the shortlist phase because we felt that our craft is ultimately about driving brand value and sales results. And so I'd urge anyone that if you're entering awards like Spikes, like Festival of Media, like the Cannes Lion, then you really need to think about the how tangible your results are from a brand and a business point of view. The fourth theme is the CSR, or corporate social responsibility. It needs to be more than just token. And what I mean by that is that, last year, a lot of the awards, a lot of the campaigns were to do with COVID. And there were a lot of really well-meaning campaigns. Some of them were truly astonishing. And again, you'll see some examples of some work of corporate responsibility in the videos that I show in a moment that were really, really good. But there were an awful lot as well that it felt like brands were kind of jumping on a little bit of a bandwagon and, saying that encouraging people to wear a face mask, for example. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's nice, but it didn't feel that it was truly authentic to what the brand stood for, or that there was any longevity. And so I think, I'd always encourage brands to do things that are responsible socially, but I also feel that it's got to be something that's authentic and it's got some longevity to it. And the fifth theme was really, when the world is melting, as unfortunately it has been for the last 12 months, I think make people smile. As I said, there were a lot of COVID-themed campaigns in there this year. And, although COVID is undoubtedly a very serious topic, I think it was the campaigns that brought in an element of humour and lightheartedness that really stood out, because when all the news is negative and all the news is serious, those ones that brought a bit of humour and empathy, I think really, really helped to stand out. So let's have a look at some of the work, shall we? So the first campaign I'm going to share with you is from China. It's for Nike, and it's called Next Percent. This won a bronze in the category of media insights and strategy. And what we as jurors really liked about this is that when you see the video, hopefully you'll see that the mechanic that they used and the core idea behind this feels very authentic to me. And it was really about splitting their audience of buyers from the people who were buying Nike either just as a status symbol or as a collectible or something that they can trade, to a different audience, which is the people who are really serious about running. And Nike really wanted to just focus on those serious athletes. And I think they came up with a very elegant way to do that. The second thing we liked about this is that it really does tap into the competitive nature of people who are seriously into sport. And you'll see that the output of this really did help enhance Nike's brand positioning and stature as a serious athlete's piece of kit. So let's have a look at the video.
Meet the Next Percent, Nike's fastest running shoe ever created, specifically for the world's fastest runners. It's so fast, it was actually proven to deliver an additional 2% speed improvement for them. Nike needed to get this icon of speed on the feet of the fastest runners in China. So, we made speed the only currency accepted for runners to get a pair of Next Percent on their feet. We integrated with China's most popular running apps and laid down a challenge to their 28 million monthly runners. Beat the average community pace times by 20% or more, and you could get the only QR code in existence that unlocked the Nike Next Percent for purchase. The challenge unlocked the competitive passion of China's running communities, with 918,000 kilometers ran during the campaign period. An elite top 1% of China's runners proved themselves fast enough for the Next Percent, with 277,000 of them unlocking the shoe for purchase online. This aspirational self-selection challenge ensured that the Next Percent not only sold out in record time, it went to the fastest feet in China. Critically, this exclusive campaign also had a tremendous impact on the wider running community of China, with Nike boosting preferred footwear sentiment by 40%, leading our top competitor by more than 27%.
Okay, great campaign there from Nike in China. The second one I want to share with you is from New Zealand. I really like this campaign. I thought it was very irreverent, very relatable, and quite cheeky. It's for a telco brand, Skinny, and they won a silver for best use of integrated media. This is an example of using addressable creative. Not so much here as data-driven, dynamic, like machine learning creative, but certainly using multiple formats, and in this case, empowering individual customers to become creators in their own right. They really understood how influencers work, and they managed to use influencers at scale. Too often we see that influencers are used, but they're used in quite a niche way. This campaign showed that they managed to reach almost all the population by using just ordinary influencers. And it was a very well integrated across media and using different communities and a very diverse range of talent. And, importantly, it delivered strong brand and business results. So let's have a look at Friendvertising.
I love advertising because I love lying.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV.
This is a great product.
This is amazing.
It's brought my family back together.
And made with real fruit.
Now you can get in shape without setting foot in a gym.
And we couldn't say it on TV if it wasn't true.
People don't trust ads, but they do trust friends and family. That's why we created Friendvertising.
Hi friends and or family members. Did you know recommendations from friends?
A word-of-mouth campaign for Skinny Mobile where we didn't just make one ad.
And or family member.
Or two.
Hi friends and or family members.
Or three.
Hi, friend.
Hi
We
friend.
made
Hi friend.
hundreds
Hi friend and or
to
family
try and reach everyone in New Zealand with an ad starring their mum, neighbour, friend or workmate. Because here everyone knows someone who knows someone, who knows someone who knows someone. Hey! Typical little New Zealand.
Anywho, let's talk about Skinny.
We cast Skinny customers from all over our little country and made each the star of their own campaign. Then we gave them our media budget so they could connect our message to their friends.
And they told two friends, and so on, and so on, and so on.
Combining to reach 98% of the country. Our app let any of our customers become influencers, turning their social channels into our media channels. And while we were earning trust, our customers were earning credit directly to their mobile plans for every friend that signed up.
As a Kiwi brand, Skinny covers 98% of places we work
And or live.
And it worked, because the message wasn't coming from us, it was coming from their friends and family members.
So join me,
Family member.
Get the Skinny!
Friendvertising, a telco campaign that was all about connections.
It's brilliant work from Skinny in New Zealand. Congratulations to the team whoever worked on that. The third example I want to share with you is from India, and this one is silver in the data-driven targeting campaign. It's for Cadbury's by Mondelez. And this is another one that shows addressable creative, but this time they are using machine learning and AI to deliver that. And they delivered over 1,800 different formats. They also really nicely, I think, leveraged the negative side of the pandemic, where a lot of small businesses were suffering. And they managed to think of a way that they could sort of give back a little bit to the community. So let's roll the film for Not Just a Cadbury Ad.
India is home to more than 6 crore small businesses, and they've been fighting for survival after the coronavirus outbreak and the lockdowns.
Presenting Not Just a Cadbury Ad. We advertised not just for ourselves, but for thousands of small businesses across India. The idea was innovative, but the technology and execution was challenging. Most of the stores in India don't have a digital presence. So we had to manually feed our system to create a database of local retailers, mapping them to their location, which we identified through PIN codes. As the ad was served to an individual, an algorithm located the PIN code and then mapped the various local stores in that PIN code and served the one closest to the individual in real time. The AI-enabled system created thousands of permutations for the localized version of the same ad, so many that it is even impossible to track. This resulted in the first ever hyper-personalized ad ever, one that ensured every single person that saw the ad supported a local store. The campaign was truly appreciated across India as it was picked up by major influencers. The campaign was a success even on the dark social as it appeared on countless WhatsApp groups across the country. It was also covered by national and international press, generating free PR for the campaign, and it also organically trended on Twitter. When all of us support our local stores, all of us can have a happy Diwali, not just a Cadbury ad.
For Monash University, wasn't a particularly big campaign, but it was really impressive, and there was clearly an awful lot of work that must have gone in behind the scenes here. I really liked it because I felt it leveraged the zeitgeist of Black Mirror, Handmaid's Tale, and lots of dystopian fantasy at the moment to try and recruit people and appeal to them about why it was important to study further and what they could do with that education. This won a gold for best use of events. Let's have a look at the film.
Trust us for real news.
Concerningly, around 1 in 7 Australian children also experience a mental health condition.
Antidepressants. Just one bowl a day will help your child face the complexities of the real world and the rampant cyberbullying in the virtual one.
I'm not sure that any of us want to live in a dystopian nightmare.
It really opened your eyes to what the possibilities are.
Having to taste it was super impactful.
It's made me feel anxious in terms of our values and what we should be caring about.
I think the prospect that this could be our reality certainly does make me want to change things.
The next campaign is one for corporate purpose and social responsibility. It won a gold from Telenor in Pakistan. And this was one that I think anyone who watches it will be touched by it. And we'd all hope that we could be part of a campaign like this and do something that really creates good for the world and for a community. I think Telenor really understood how their expertise and their technology could be used to deliver something really meaningful and really beneficial for society. It addressed specific issues in a very complex way, and it empowered over 1 million people. So let's have a look at this video for Telenor.
A birth certificate. Everyone has one, right? Wrong. For the 60 million unregistered children in Pakistan, it means a lifetime without access to medical care, social security, public schooling, or protection from underage marriage and child labor. The problem of low birth registration rates is due to social and economic factors. In many areas, it's nearly impossible, especially for children born at home, in remote locations, or in displacement. To improve access, we teamed up with UNICEF and Telenor, Pakistan's second largest mobile network, and launched the Digital Birth Registration Initiative. The simple SMS-based application receives and reports birth counts by authorized community leaders, health workers, teachers, education and medical staff. In addition, a few basic pieces of information like identity of parents, address, and phone number being documented. The incoming birth counts and data are then cross-referenced with local government official databases, which creates a legal path to a birth certificate. Making over 1 million children visible across 36 districts in Pakistan, providing them the most basic of human rights. A future.
The penultimate campaign I'm going to share with you today is for Uber and Uber Eats, again in Australia. This won a gold in the media and entertainment category. And it was around their sponsorship of the Australian Open tennis event. We really like this as a jury because, you know, with many sponsorships, it's very easy to get quick copy wear out. You know, the same ad is shown in incredibly high frequency, and it can often leave viewers quite bored, to be quite honest. And Uber really worked out a way to tackle this by creating different ads for every day of the competition. That kept their product very fresh and very entertaining. And they also brilliantly integrated with both athletes and the officials. So let's have a look at the Uber Eats campaign.
And while we have a chance, let's just take a look at a slow-mo of Serena Williams as she rips through those ground strokes.
Tonight, I'll be eating a vegan cheeseburger. Thanks.
That is beautiful.
Tonight, I'll be eating a grilled chicken burrito with cheesy nachos.
Let's take a look at the Australian Open classic moment.
Mr. McEnroe, please calm down. I know you don't like spicy food, but we're still ordering it. Tonight, I'll be eating spicy king prawn laksa.
Απόψε, θα φάω πικάντικο γύρο αρνίσιο με έξτρα τζατζίκι.
Well done to everybody involved in that Uber Eats campaign. It seems that every year they exceed themselves and do something amazing with the Australian Open. So I wonder what they'll do next year. The final campaign I'm going to share is the one that won the Grand Prix. It's for Tourism New Zealand. but it was actually aired in Australia to encourage Australians to want to go and visit New Zealand. And this was quite a brilliant campaign that we all loved. We felt that it was a really good brand fit for the campaign, for how they developed the strategy. They really wanted to target people who were gamers, and they saw that during lockdown, an awful lot of people were getting into gaming that previously hadn't been, and they were spending more time gaming. And what they were looking for there was exploration, escapism, and adventure. And Tourism New Zealand thought, well, that's what New Zealand as a country offers. So they leveraged this and sort of turned New Zealand into a giant game platform, and they marketed it as a game. So they used all the latest technology. They used multiple media channels. They got social influencers involved. They got gamers involved. They used different gaming channels. They used data very well, and most importantly, it delivered really strong results. So it was a truly impressive campaign that shows what you can do within the craft of media. Let's have a look at Play New Zealand.
An innovative tourism campaign, perfect for a pandemic.
In lockdown, gaming shot up 70% as people rushed online for a hit of adventure and escape. Coincidentally, the very things New Zealand offers in droves. So Tourism New Zealand decided to market the country like a video game. Play NZ. The first ever gamer walkthrough of a country. With every channel mimicking an online game launch, Play NZ took viewers on a series of quests across the nation. To launch, we recruited one of Australia's top gaming influencers, Loserfruit.
Play NZ. Let's boot this bad boy up. Let's go. Let's go forward. Oh, I'm crouching. Okay, there we go. All right. Whoa.
Partnering with Twitch, she introduced Play NZ and some of New Zealand's attractions to thousands in a live event, with a little help from Kiwi movie star Julian Dennison.
I'm the narrator. It's the first of its kind of a gamified walkthrough of New Zealand.
Millions more watched on YouTube and other social platforms, with trailers pushing them to an interactive web experience where immersive 180-degree videos highlighted New Zealand's people, places and culture. The experience left an adventure-starved audience wanting more. Thousands wished the game was real, and the press couldn't get enough either. The campaign reached over 100 million people, with over 15 million views, and a 9-minute average website dwell time, and earned over $1.4 million in media. Intent to visit post-lockdown increased by 387%. Above all, we maintained our #1 position as the preferred destination for Aussie travellers.
Got it. So congratulations to everybody involved in that Tourism New Zealand campaign. So that was just a small selection of the awards that were given of the 23. We haven't got time to show more today, but I did want to just point out a few that were my personal favourites as well. So if you get time, if you go to the Spikes Asia website, you can look at the case studies and you can watch the videos for any of the winners this year. And all of these listed, I all think that they deserve an awful lot of credit, and they really demonstrate a very progressive and clever use of our craft. So just finally, it was a great experience for me being part of the Spikes Awards this year. And, I just want to close out with an argument for entering awards and trying to win awards. In some ways, people can see them as the sort of beauty pageant of our industry. But I think they're much more than that. The awards really do help motivate, reward, and encourage teams within any agency and any client as well. They provide validation that the people involved in that work and their ingenuity, their creativity, and the effort they made really did make a difference. And for the rest of us within the industry, seeing the work that is winning awards can inspire us, and it challenges us with new benchmarks to better each year. So I would encourage all of you to try and enter awards and try and win awards for yourself, for your team, for your agency, and for your country. So that was a quick look at some of the best work from Spikes this year. Thank you very much.